Hi, I'm Justin Spence, Production Manager at PreSonus Audio, and I'm here at Full Compass today to talk to you about the CS18. First, I'd like to speak to you about the RM. With the release of RM mixers, the RM32 and RM16, we brought forth the UC Surface Control software. Now, this runs on a Windows 8 touch surface, your Mac or PC, and an iPad. This is a great wireless experience for mixing with your RM. We've introduced the CS18 to give you a tactile surface to mix on. So we have 18 touch-sensitive motorized faders, full fat channel control like you'd see on our console mixer, a touch screen master control, scribble strips, multicolor LED select buttons, and the list goes on and on. So I'd like to just start from the top to the faders and talk to you about the sections of the control surface and how it controls the RM mixer. Up top you have your preamp control. So on your selected channel you would control your preamp with your first encoder. And then from left to right is the rest of your fat channel. So you have your gate, your compressor, limiter, and EQ. Now what's interesting on these is now that we have a touch screen master control, I can actually hit an edit button, either of these edit buttons in my fat channel, and I can pull up a visual representation of what I'm working on. Hit edit, boom, your gate pops up, compressor, and EQ. So when I'm tweaking on something in the fat channel, I can actually see the movements happening in the master control. In addition to that, if you're running UC Surface, which I am right now on my computer and on my Windows 8 touch surface, I can see what's happening there as well, so long as I have that channel in focus. So if I move anything here, it'll actually happen here on my UC surface, and I'll see it visually happening in the master control of the mixer. The rest, master control is actually integrated in this fat channel section as well. You have your talkback, your assigns for where you want the channel to go, copying and pasting channels or loading channel strips, just like on our console mixers. You can actually load channel strips or suggestions of compression, gate, and EQ for your channels for specific types of channels like drums or guitar or vocals. You also have your mute groups on board, so you have a surface area to turn those on and create mute groups. Then your monitoring section, and then your master control. And again, you have buttons to control your master control, but you also have a touch screen that you can get into and do some deeper programming into the control surface. A step down here, you'll see your mix buttons. And this is our mix to aux outputs. So I'm connected to a 32. I can also be connected to a 16. With the 32, I see 32 analog inputs and I see 16 outs. And this is showing my 16 outs. So I hit the mix buttons and my faders become send to that mix output. Very straightforward. Below that, you have your scribble strips, which coincide with whatever I've labeled in UC Surface or whatever I've labeled here. UC Surface sees, it reflects exactly the same. Then below your selects, solo, and mute per channel. Now this is a layered system, so we're working with our first 16 channels here, and then just to navigate through, you have your navigation buttons for different fader banks right here on the right-hand side of the console. So we're 1 through 16, 17 through 32. You'll see 33 through 48 and 49 through 64. We're introducing cascading very soon, so when we cascade 232 RMs, we'll have these faders available to us to mix those inputs. You have your effects returns here, and then mix masters, which are the actual aux output masters, all on one bank, just like they would be here in UC Surface. Then group masters. Now this is a very interesting layer because this is the layer that I would choose to function on. Rather than have to bank through different channel banks, I would create my groups, drum groups, guitar groups, vocal groups, etc. And then I would just I would mix the overall group master to control many faders at one time, so I can have more of a single surface mixing experience. And that, in a nutshell, is the CS18. So let me show you a couple of practical applications for fat channel. So fat channel is to control the overall sound of the incoming signal. An interesting way to use this, specifically if you're just trying to get a quick mix, is to, let's say, select a channel and then hit load here in the channel strip, which is the fat channel area up top. That will, in the master control, bring up some presets. So I can scroll through these presets, And I know that channel 12 where I'm selected is actually a vocal, so I can just scroll down here to a vocal preset and select that preset and then hit load, and then it loads that preset onto that channel. So this gives me a jump off point or a starting point when I'm setting up even before the band gets there. If I have an input list, I can go 1, 2, 3, and I can copy and paste. So if I had a bunch of male vocals or a bunch of female vocals, I could do that and then just copy and then load it on any selected channel that I wanted. So that's really straightforward and real quick way to set up your mix with Fat Channel. Another quick way of mixing is once I have my level set on my layers, my input layers, so I have channels 1 through 16 right now with the 32 and channels 17 through 32. And I have a mix for my drums here, I have a mix for my guitars, and then on the second bank I actually have all my vocals there. What's interesting is in the group masters I have everything on a single fader, so I have multiple drum faders on the group master here. And you can see actually it's happening here in UC Surface. I'm controlling multiple faders as a group. And then I have my guitars, and then I also have my vocals. So I can have a single surface to mix from without having to dive back into the other layers once I've made the initial adjustments. To learn more about the CS18, go to fullcompass.com or contact your Full Compass sales representative.